right, let's do this thing here. It rains, we don't hurry. I call this meeting of the Wausau County Council to order. Would you please stand for invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance? Tonight, our invocation is offered by Dwayne Carter from the New Discovery Church here in Wausau. Dwayne.
Father God, we just thank you, Lord God, that we can come here and our elected officials can meet and resolve issues. And God, I ask you to give them wisdom and knowledge, God, for each decision they have to make, Lord God, that it'll better our community, Lord, and just give them ideas and stuff that they can do to help make our town just a wonderful place for all of us that live here, and protect each and every one of us, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This has been moved.
It has.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry I didn't answer you back on that text when you asked me to do this, but at 10 o'clock at night, I'm already asleep. I've gotten old, so I go to sleep about 8:45.
Well, it's not a problem. Thank you for responding, and I do know that this is your church night. If you have to leave, you feel free
I'll sit here for a minute
leave
or
when
three.
you need to. Okay. All right. You have the consent agenda. These are minus the minutes from the last meeting.
Yes.
Even though we adopt this, when the minutes come back, if there are additions or corrections at that time, we can make that to the minutes from the August meeting. What's the pleasure of the council on the consent agenda?
I make a motion to accept it.
Motion to accept the agenda. Second.
I'll second
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Can I ask, approve the rest of the agenda?
I need to bring one thing off the agenda. Washington County sent at about 3:45 today, sent a memo that they, due to the ad, we're gonna have to pull the variance for the Assembly of God Church, and it'll be on the October 21st meeting.
Okay. We're taking.
It was not properly advertised, so we gotta pull it.
Okay. That is down under.
That's under me, yes, uh-huh.
First, that's going to be cool and reattended.
Mhm.
With that correction made to the agenda, the consent agenda approval will also approve the rest of the agenda. Is that still the motion, Ms. West?
Yes.
And a second.
Yes.
Okay. How do you go, Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wolfson? Yes. Chair votes yes. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Okay, nobody signed in.
Great.
Okay, before we get to the budget, I have y'all asked me last month to, because due to my surgery, now we have not advertised a position yet, so you asked me to consider staying on as 4 days a week, which I will, for October, and probably part of November, we'll stay 4 days a week till we can advertise, because I understand we can't advertise till tonight. And we probably can't hire anybody till, we'll still have to meet again and discuss the applications. We'll still have to, probably nobody won't come on board till November 1. If then, you know, we got to make sure we get some applications, because everybody else is getting applications, not getting nobody to apply, so we got to see that. But that's, I'm never gonna leave Wausau where I'm not, you know. But I will stay 4 days a week until we get hired, and then if the council is agreeable, I will stay 3 days a week until I feel comfortable on letting that person stay here 4 days. You know, 1 day a week they can answer the phone, nothing else, you know. And then go to 2 days a week when I feel comfortable and y'all feel comfortable that they can do what needs to be done for a couple of days without me, you know.
I feel like that could take as much as 3 to 5 years.
I don't think so.
For a long time.
But that's, you know, I'm firmly committed to Wausau, you know, and I board would stay until we were comfortable with somebody here. And if it's like the last time, within 6 months, they were gone, you know. We hired one, they didn't even show up Monday morning to come to work, you know, so we got, it may not be the first one, it may not be the second one, you know, but we will get somebody, you know, that'll want to stay here. And I hope we get some good applicants, you know. And the other thing I wanted to request, because I am going to start drawing my Social Security in November, but I would like for y'all to vote tonight to authorize to pay for my annual leave up to 240 hours. Now I have more than that because I've not took any time off much since 2015 when I come back here. But that's what I would like, and I'd also like to, our insurance year starts in January, and I would like for y'all to vote to pay my insurance for 1 more year. So that's why I want 2 votes tonight. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you'll be here another year?
Yes, ma'am, I think I'll be here in 2 years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you'll be here in 2 years on those declining hours.
Yes, yes, sir. I want to accumulate
Would
no
you-
more, I want to accumulate no more annual or sick leave after probably November 1 or November, whatever the meeting is in November, you know.
Sort of like a mini drop program, you'll be retired,
But we're, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
but yes, you'll be working for salary but not benefits.
Correct, yes.
Except the
Except the insurance.
Mhm. And the retirement will,
Retirement will
When you-
carry on, yeah, it'll carry on till I retire, you know.
okay.
Fully retire, you can't get out of that. We did drop the senior management off, but, you know, regular retirement, you're there till your toes is turned up this time.
You know, not that we always do it the proper way, but the proper way is to have a motion and a second before we discuss, but we like to discuss before we make a motion, so we know what we, so with that thought in mind, let me say back what I think you said. Sometimes I understand better
Mhm.
if I can say back what I think
Okay.
you said. You want us to, at sometime in the meeting this evening, you want us to vote to advertise for a second person in the office.
Correct. Yeah, that's
And-
later on this, yeah, on the agenda.
Yeah, okay, and then that person will be hired sometime before the end of the year.
Correct.
But you are committed to stay with us 4 days a week
Till we hire somebody,
until we hire, until that point in time.
mhm,
Then 3 days a week after that,
till whenever you need me not to, and then I'll go to 2 days.
till whenever.
Mhm.
Okay. But you'll coordinate that with the council. You will just
with all-
one day decide.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I've never done
And
that, Roger.
I know that, but we're getting this,
Mhm.
I'm doing this maybe so that we officially have it in the record and things like that. And that 3 day to 2 day, you anticipate will take as much as, and to do things that you've got started will take as much as 2 years.
At least, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well,
Probably take that long to clean my office in there after this month of not just piling it up my
I hope so. I was thinking waste management may have to bring another note.
I had everything on reach, and that's all piled up.
I want to be very careful how we say this because we're all in for public service and somebody may be watching our videos. I sometimes watch other videos, and I do know that there are some other entities that are having problems, internal problems, staff problems, and that can happen to us. When we replace one, when you have somebody who has got the years and the experience, when they can walk around the room blindfolded and do it all without looking, we don't sometimes realize what an asset that can be. And the next person, whomever he or she may be, it will take them a long time. 25 years from now, hopefully they'll have a career and they'll be sitting where Margaret is asking some future board, where do we go? But I would really like for us to be careful, and I say that, Margaret, in that if we don't get somebody by November or by December,
I'll stop
How
my,
would that- how would-
I'll stop, I guess I'll stop my Social Security You know?
And we know that there's only a limited amount because you're retiring so early, so young, that you can make without
Yes.
losing it. And I certainly want you to do that.
Yeah, I can always defer it back. I've talked to them, you know, if it needs be, I can defer again, you know, just come out and defer.
Because you're right, the first round that we get may not have the person in. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that we may not have to solicit, so if any of you know names of people who might feel the thing, you may speak to them and ask them if they're interested in working, if they're not working or interested in.
Currently, Washington County is advertising for a position, clerical position in the building department, and the library is advertising for a temporary pay, getting no response.
Yeah, I think maybe it's the clerk's office in Chipley advertising.
Who knows with them, they never put theirs out for.
I think I may have seen or heard that. I just, this will be one of the most important decisions we make in the last quarter of this year is who's gonna come in here, because even though I said one time, we're not Mayberry RFD, we really are Mayberry. We're really, the community. Now, lots of folks are moving here. Some of those people expect it to be more like it was someplace that they came from. But I know that this, the clerk's office, and we do. I'm sure that every one of you, we do things that is not necessarily in the job description of the council person or the clerk. Bringing a gallon of milk to somebody, or a loaf of bread, or going to the post office and things like that. But we need a person that will fit that. I'm not saying they even need to do that or will even want to do that, but we need a person that will fit that mold, more than just,
We need somebody that can come in and treat our citizens, whether it's the homeless citizen that we have in town that walks the streets, to the mayor of Wausau, to be treated the same. When they come in here, to get the same services that you would give to you, that you would give to the homeless here.
okay. So now the request, we're going to talk about something further down.
That.
So tell me the request again before we ask for a motion. That is what I just said to you is what.
The first motion I would like to read your request is a motion to pay my annual leave in the amount of 240 hours. And I want to accrue no more after October, you know, probably most likely, you know. And I only have enough then if I can use that much, you know.
When you want to be paid through? Can we do this motion twice? Can we do it through September, which is the end of the fiscal year?
Yeah,
And then if you do accrue in October, we can do it for a month.
well, I can keep that at part-time and use it if I want to take a vacation when the clerk that's here is good enough, you know. I can take 2 days off, you know. 2 more days off, you know.
So then if we.
That'll be it, that'll be
Does our personnel policy address, accrued leave?
to pay 240 hours only,
Up to 240.
240 hours.
Okay, so this would be in compliance with our personnel policy that we pay up to 240 hours of accrued leave for anybody. We just did that with,
David,
did we do his?
we paid him what he had, he didn't,
Yeah.
David used quite a bit of his, he took vacations, you know.
Yeah, okay. What's the pleasure of council that we would pay Margaret, up to 240 hours of accrued annual leave?
I make the motion that we pay her $240 annually.
I'm not doing for
I
it
mean, $240 I'm sorry.
We heard it the first time that.
I'm sorry. Hours.
We got a motion that we pay Ms. Rydick up to 240 hours of accrued annual leave. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? How you vote, Mr. Walksnail?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes.
Okay, the second motion I would like, our insurance year goes from January 1 to December 31. I would like, I have been loyal, you know, I would like 1 year of paid insurance while I'm on semi-retirement. Then I'll only have 2 months before I go on Medicaid, 3 months.
Medicare.
Medicare. I want to go on Medicaid too. I want to go on Medicaid too, they get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, clerk also requests that we pay her insurance for a year. Is this new ground for us?
Probably for the city.
You're probably the first one that's ever retired, so it's very new ground.
Well, since we've had insurance, Diane retired, you know, I think Diane and I are the only ones that's ever retired from Wausau.
Yeah. And,
Because there was Diane, then there was Tim between her and me, and then I've been here since then.
who's between y'all?
Mary Phoenix, the girl from, Cooper girl, Deborah Cooper. There was several, Chris Griggs, there was several, 3 or 5.
Dick was in there somewhere, wasn't he?
Who?
Was he before Diane? He was between Geraldine and Diane, I think,
Yeah.
I think
I
Dick.
think Diane's also one that's ever actually retired, you know.
Yeah, I think Diddy lasted 3 months or maybe a year. Okay, this is new territory for us. I am aware of situations where a council or an entity would want an employee to retire or leave, and they would offer insurance or some other incentive to do that. We're certainly not trying to get Margaret to leave, but with her years and so on, do we want to not incentivize her to reward her, if that's, or I don't know if there is a word, but
Benefit me.
do we want to offer a benefit of extended insurance? I think we can do it this way. She is going to continue to work. The insurance that she's on is not the league insurance, it's that insurance, .com or whatever.
Healthcare.gov, yeah.
Yeah. So we would be, if we do it, we will be paying a lesser, premium, and she will still be employed. The problem is that she's gonna be below the numbers of hours where you have to do it.
Yeah, correct.
We are permitted to do it, but we're not required to do it if she goes to less than the
30 hours.
30 hours. So that's where we find ourselves.
We'll carry it for a year.
That's what she's asking us for, to carry forward. Yeah. What's the pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion that we carry her insurance for a year.
Okay. And with a caveat, if she does leave within that time, that it would drop.
That would be automatic, it would be
And
a
this,
question, yeah.
yeah, we have to, it's nothing, Margaret, whatsoever, it's just that we have to do those things that we have to do. Okay, we have a motion that we carry, insurance for a year. Do I hear a second to that motion? We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? How you vote, Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh-Now?
Yes.
Ms. Park?
Yes.
The chair votes yes.
You ready for the budget?
Is that?
That's all mine.
That's all the things. Would you text, email, or something, remind us when we get closer to the date, when the office hours are going to change?
It'll be in a meeting, and it'll be public, when we know it, you know. I don't look for it to be at least till, at least 3 days a week till January, at least, you know, or more, you know. Okay, you have in your packets the 2021 balanced, budget for all funds. And also to let y'all know, we have received our first, recovery funds payment in the amount of $99,000, a little over $99,000. But also remind y'all that we just had a well go down since the 25th of August. That right now, we haven't got all the final bills in, but we know exactly right now that $35,000 is what this lightning strike it's cost us so far. Hopefully, our insurances seem to be really good on coming on board with this, that we'll get most of that back. But we will need to pay those bills by the end of the month because they are this fiscal year's bills, and then we'll pay that out of recovery funds, and then we'll put it back when we get insurance into the general funds.
Do they usually pay most of it back?
Yeah, so we only have a $500 deductible, we'll be responsible for that $500, and
Yeah.
we should, but I have got all the parts in my office there, it fried the main well, it fried the well at George Robinson's, and, apparently when they put our pipes in, our 6-inch lines, they put that tracer wires on them. They didn't put faults in those tracer wires, so we were just lucky that pipe blew where it did, and it only affected part of the town, because if it did run the whole system, it would have been disastrous. But
Those of you who weren't on the council and Mr. Phillips wrote, heard as best he could, but those of you who weren't on the council, when our water system was replaced the last time, missed the rodeo. It was a very difficult thing, and
it was a disaster.
we're discovering now, 3, 4 years later, 5 years later, that our as-built plans aren't on the ground, what they show on the paper. Even our engineer goes out and says it's right here, and he gets in there, he's big-eyed, because it isn't right here, it's not. And I remember the gentleman who sat over here one night and said, I hope I don't ever have to do business with y'all again. I told him if I was on the council, I could assure him the best I could that he wouldn't have to do business with us again. And
Charlie Cotton still.
sometimes we have to go back and
Charlie Cotton still talks about that orange water there, Chester.
start now.
Charlie Cotton, that little engineer, he still talks about that orange water that we passed throughout the council, helping that well out.
Yeah. Even the water was risky.
Yeah. But anyway, that's where we're at on the well. It's back up and running, and I can monitor it from my computer now in the office, so I can tell y'all when that tank goes down or when it's up and what the pressure is and everything else on it. But anyway, back to the budget. The budget is balanced at $1,707,000, something over there. 35, yeah. And in your memo, the raisers are the employees at 3%, and y'all I added maintenance in that like you asked, so Tim will go to 1545 at the beginning of January now Steve is the recreation director. He got a little upset and offended about last month's meeting. But he has asked respectfully that the grass cutting that he's took over come out from under him. His salary would go back to the $500 a month plus his raise, and the grass cutting will come out because if you look on down in the budget memo, I put in an outside maintenance helper for 28 hours per week at $14 per hour for a total of $20,384. And the utility building clerk is in the office at $14 an hour for 32 hours a week. The clerk employee will also qualify for insurance at the end of her 6 months probation period. The outside maintenance will not have insurance unless y'all choose to do so. If he works out, y'all may want to break him to 30 hours, 2 more hours, and put him on benefits, everything we might hire. But these positions are desperately needed, This time, this well going down, this has worked everybody in town, But it's been a challenge. But the maintenance could well take over the parks again and do that, But I guess first what we need, is to vote to take the grass off of Steve and put him back to regular. Now granted, Steve works his butt off, because we got soccer coming up, we do have baseball. We have a lot of fundraisers. Haunted House is going to go for a month. Fall Festival's going. Trunk or Treat's going. But he feels too that the grass is too much for him.
Steve, you want to address any of this?
Well, I was mad because every one of y'all right around this town, no one called me once and tell me that park was over there was overdrawn. We had 6 weeks of rain. I figured my budget up. It was costing me $9,800 a year to cut these grass. But y'all were only paying me $9,600. Now it costs about $600 every 2 weeks, plus $200 a month in gas. I didn't care. God blesses me. I bless the kids. So I just did it. My wife did it. But when y'all were making a fuss on the budget meeting, I'm going, that's not right. I mean, I busted my butt around here trying to keep up with everything, and all 5 of them council members, including Margaret, has gone to that park but me, and nobody's called me to let me know kids couldn't play over there. That upset me. I'm gonna tell you right now, that upset me. And to be publicly shamed about it on live, because I had people call me Friday, you need to watch that video, you need to watch that video. I didn't know nothing about it until they told me to watch the video. But, yeah, I was upset, and I feel, that y'all are getting part-time, and, I'm paying you $200 a year to be the rec director. And, it's not beneficial for me to keep the grass up if I got to pay y'all to be the rec director. I mean, that's all I figured, go back to maintenance, and if we need the help, we'll help. I mean, I've never refused any of y'all help. But, I figured it up, it's cost me more than I make, so I don't think it's beneficial for me to keep paying y'all to work. I don't mind, I didn't care, but, when I figured it up, I'm going, and I will tell you something, Miss Judy, I love you to death. But when you said that about when I made $800 a month, I said, wait a minute, I don't make $800 a month. I figured everything up. I said, I'm paying y'all. But I love every one of y'all to death. I just asked, to go back just to be the rec director and go back to the regular salary. No hard feelings. I mean, I'll help them out when they need it. Baseball season, they ain't got time. I'll go up there and cut the field so we can play baseball. Ain't no big deal.
Would anybody like to address any of the things that Steve had to say? Okay, I would. I watched the video again too, because sometimes when I leave here, I don't know what we say. I can't tell you who said what in a discussion. But the part about us going up there and finding that we got somebody hired to go up there and find it, I ain't supposed to go up there and find it.
Right.
I just happened to. Had you been going up there once a week or once a month or driving by just leisurely or something like that, you would have seen it. I don't think that we singled you out as that. We just said this is what was out there.
Oh, I'll single that.
Yeah. Were you?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'd have to watch again or see the minutes. But I think I may have said that we have recently been told that there's not enough here for 2 people to do. There's not enough here. I can't find anything to do. We recently went through that.
Yes, sir.
And some things like that. If we would just get out, and I've done it more in the last 6 months, and I probably the last 2 years on the council, and drive around, our streets and our facilities and things like that needs a lot. Going right out here, just outside the door, we've got pecan trees this high growing up right there in front of the window, and our little flower bed. We've got grass knee deep. We've got buildings with mildew on it. We've got that fence line we talked about last month, and we've got a building up there. I know we aren't using it, but when those lights come and we start scheduling events up there,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna use it. So there's plenty to do. So if we singled you out, that was unfair to you, and if I'm the one that did it, I will apologize publicly. If I offended you publicly, I apologize publicly. But my feeling is, if we got somebody hired to do something, I'll not behind them to see that it's done. So the fact that we didn't call you, I'm gonna let that one just slide off my back. The other thing about the price, you wanted on a bid.
No, this was no.
Not the
But it
contract.
was bidded out.
No, this good, just went under his regular salary, we just raised his salary.
That-
Cemetery's contract.
Cemetery, okay. I thought you raised both of them, okay?
No.
Just say with this then. My thoughts on if we do the second person, why we would receive it back from you, is that if we had a person, then they wouldn't every day be doing that one little thing, so they would have time to incorporate the ball fields and things like that. They would be able to, we coordinate some schedules. There's some things that has to be done the first week of every month. There's some things that have to be done the third Thursday. There's some things that need to be done twice a month or some things like that. And we'd have something here, those reports come back to us, and some of the things that we aren't getting done. Some things that, you, the new person or Tim, needs to be finding without us pointing out to them. I would not have to point out a pothole to somebody on one of our roads. This council will not have to point out a pothole. If we got maintenance people, they would be finding them potholes and fixing them without being told to.
That's true.
And, so that was, if I didn't say it that way last month, I wished I had. And, so that's right.
Well, you're right, I should have been riding, but
But now, even.
I'm so busy. I work 7 days a week.
I understand. Of all the jobs with the city, I probably want yours least.
I love
You're not making, if you do a program down there, you're not making any money.
I love my
And
job.
over the years, we wanted this program to have something as nearly year-round as we could. We wanted our children to be engaged a lot. I go back to Carl Eric Bill a lot, and he's been gone from here 30 years, but when he was our recreation director, we had a program. We had adult program, we had adult volleyball, and we had lots of things. And you're not making any money as recreation director. You're doing that because you love
I
kids.
love the kids.
And you love the community.
And listen, if I get enough grown-ups to play softball, I got a bunch of churches around here play.
And we appreciate that.
No.
And I'm not opposed as you build a program to see your salary as a recreation director increase commensurate. I'm not opposed to that. That's not what we're discussing, but I'm just saying the recreation director's job is not an easy job if it's done. And I haven't had any complaints from parents or anything like that. And are you the liaison to recreation? You're the liaison.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you are with recreation, Mr. Wilcox's name, you're the liaison, but I haven't had any complaints.
No, I'm not having no complaints at all. I
And-
think Steve has done a good job.
And the games that I went down there, fields were dressed and
Yeah.
things like that. you
It's
know.
fine.
Can I go right on to the cemetery since
Yeah.
I'm speaking? What I start saying is the reason that we would draw that back is if we look at that $14 an hour, and what that person would do, if we added it, I think it was 3 days. Margaret, help me.
4 days.
4 days.
No, 4 days at 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
7,428.
So if we brought that $400 back into a city employee, then that person could do that. And if we wanted to mow once a week, we could tell them to mow once a week. That's not what your contract calls for. Your contract calls for some things.
Oh, that was twice a week,
Yeah.
twice a month.
Yeah, so we could have it done once a week or twice a week. Because
And honestly-
he's now an employee. And not only could he or she, do that along with other duties, that would help make his or her salary up. We say, I'm not being sexist here or whatever that is, but when I say he, we usually
Right.
are thinking like that. But, so that would be my thoughts on that. And the whole council, your contract will come up in a couple of months or a month or something like
Is yours
that.
through January or through
March to March.
March.
March to March?
But you don't cut November, December, and January. But I told my wife already when y'all discussed that they'd probably be cutting the cemetery next year, and that we probably wouldn't get or bid on it because y'all would go take it back.
Yep.
Which would be a smart business to do, to take it back since you're paying an hourly to do it.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing of bidding it out, is because the hourly person y'all had didn't have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, I've already told my wife about that, but that's what I figured, and I have no shame on that anyways.
And And I don't know if we're going, if the council wants to discuss this tonight, or, the contract does, and what you've done has been good. There's only been a couple of times that I was not pleased, and
Right.
I don't know that it was something you did or something that the wind did behind you. And the other thing about having an employee do that, and I don't know why we didn't think about this last year, if there is ever any injury to the coping or the headstones or something like that, we probably have some insurance, we could have something. Right now, we don't have anything.
Yeah, I do. We got insurance. Our company's got insurance. We got liability, she's got a copy of it. Liability insurance? Yeah.
Or protects them, or protects them, anything they damage, it protects.
Okay.
Yeah, we carry
That's-
liability insurance.
That's another point of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a,
So I guess right now, all we need a vote is to, before we go through with the budget, is to take the grass off of the rec director job description.
do we want to do that before we decide on the second person? If we take it off of him now, that just puts it on Steve with no hail, puts it on Tim with no hail.
Oh, we can do it after we vote this budget, then. We can do it after we vote the budget, if you want to. The budget won't be finalized till September the 30th, you know.
Yep. Of the budget memo, do we have anything on there we need further detail on? Is there anything there we need to discuss?
All I had on my discussion was the rec position in the grass.
And on that, the only thing we deal with tonight is the grass at the fields, not,
Not the cemetery, just the grass at the ball field.
and that's good with you, Steve?
Yeah.
Steve is such a unique, we call him an employee, but,
I'm just a picture. I'm a picture in the town.
picture. Okay,
Everywhere you look, I'm there.
any question on the budget? Where, Margaret, is it in the general fund budget? I mean, we got $1 million budget here. So much of that, though, we probably need to explain is grant.
Grant. That's with the grants. The street is about the same it was last year. We've added some other recovery monies in that to do some pothole patching. We've applied for a grant, but we haven't heard anything for that grant yet to buy materials. Recreation, you know, they raise their own monies most of the time. Fire department, they pay off their rescue truck this December, but they've added 2 loans that'll be up to about $7,000, $9,000. If you look at the fire budget, you'll see where it's their payments to People's South Bank is the USDA payment would be about $6,000 a year.
You may have to point out or slow down.
Okay, go to the fire department budget.
Down there.
The USDA payment is $6,000. People's South is about $5,350, so that's about $11,350 of payments they're gonna still have. But they're gonna have the money for that because they pay off their $12,510 payment in December. So they're not gonna make a great deal of money yet.
Okay, if I look at that, 44,860, 12 is coming out of that, plus 6, plus, I mean, is this year they gonna have all 3 of those grants to start paying?
And next year, they will be in September of next year. Well, we may miss that USDA, we're already paying on the People's South. But the grant, the USDA grant, it'll pay off, you know, we won't pay that this year, you know. And they got the money for their
Where-
rescue truck
Okay,
payment.
where's the $12,000 grant?
It's a rescue truck payment. But that one pays off, and it'll pay off before we usually pay it in December, but we're gonna go ahead and take that and pay it before then, for it won't be in this coming fiscal year.
Okay, that's in the 21 budget.
Yeah, 22 budget, yeah, go down to 22, we're gonna replace that with that 6,000 and that 5,000. And this 6,000, we haven't closed on that yet for USDA, so it may not come into play till next October, but they're trying to push it to get it to close by September 30th. That last paper you're signing.
Okay, so we got $7,000 more in the budget this year than we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And to balance, of course, you have to, the expenses, so that contingency fund,
It's just gonna be just what they have to play with.
Okay.
Which will be very little by the time it's a transmission ball. They'll make it, but it's gonna be tied.
and when they don't make it in as tight, then they come
They still
back,
got $5,000 in their volunteer fire funds.
they come back to the general fund, and our contingency looks like what?
Our contingency is, I usually don't put the contingency in the general fund budget. But we will have some, $20,000 cash carryover,
Okay. Okay, where in particular then is our 99,000?
If you look on your budgets there, we're gonna put, in general funds, we're gonna put about 49. I think that, if I understood y'all right, the plan for this recovery monies is this first draw, we're gonna incorporate it into the budgets for this year because our state monies were cut, and it'll be split between the funds. The rest of it that we get is going to go to replace our tower monies back into our savings.
Okay. So do we have any other FEMA, ARFA, Fred, Michael, we got any other monies that's coming in? We got,
We're applying for the Michael monies that's coming in to do the repairs at the well
Right.
and the Second Avenue.
right?
We're gonna vote on some of that here in the meeting also tonight.
Okay.
But we got it. And there's some other stuff that they say that's gonna be coming down the pipe, but we don't have a firm on any of that yet. And we're still gonna talk to the commissioners about our CARES money. I think CARES money should ought to buy a transmission,
Yeah. And again, please.
We got-
And with a new person coming in, please make sure that, but please, as often as you need to, remind me, these are new monies, we're not used to dealing with them.
No.
I don't want to get confused,
Now, they're a separate line item in the, when you get your printouts.
okay, when we're spending those monies, we'll know.
We'll know it.
Okay, because, and some other entities, we're the ones that spend money. It's not the clerk.
Nope.
I mean, that's the way it should be. And I need to know when we're spending monies and what we're spending
I
money.
see everything that's,
And I appreciate that. I just hand that off to,
Yeah.
Okay, looking at, is there any fund that someone wants to, take us to the street fund, because I want to discuss that in a few minutes, not now necessarily, but
High Street Fund being a very bad fund.
very last one.
And as y'all know, those monies are restricted. But we're also, like I say, now our cash carryover in streets gonna, I got 5,000, we're gonna carry about $7,000 over in streets this year because we've not expended, much out of it. And we're gonna put, around $9,000 of the recovery funds in there for street projects, that we can, for infrastructure projects. We're desperately needing to cover, we're desperately needing some road signs. We don't have any road work signs, we don't have any, we've got them borrowed from Vernon right now, detour signs and all. We have nothing, but we're gonna have to have some signage.
So we're gonna have about almost 21 in that. Have we mentioned to the council persons yet that we have to adopt a budget and it has to be balanced, that's by law. It has to be balanced, and these are always estimated figures, probably in November or December, in the first quarter after the books close on September 30th. Mark will give some information to our auditors, and the auditors will come back and do what's called adjusting entries. It seems like it's a longer title, just called adjusting entries, or yeah, it might be a longer title than that. And then when our budget is printed, it may not be these numbers. Where she said we show $5,000. That was the best estimate. It looks like we didn't spend everything. We may have a couple of $1,000 left over. That still carries forward. So instead of having $5,000 when we get out there in October, November, we may actually have $7,000. But we won't know that till the books close on September 30th. That's in the fiscal year. We won't know, like balancing the checkbook, you won't know what you got to you.
And then you have some bills that, we'll get the light bills in October, but those are for September,
Yeah.
telephone bills, everything like that is,
Some things come in October, November, she'll pay the bill right out of the same checking account, but when she identifies it as the budget, it will go back to the 21 budget that we're posting out, because that's when the expenditure was incurred, that's when the debt was incurred, was in that last budget, so. All right, then back to the memo, all the things that Margaret has there. Is there any other questions on that?
I'm just making y'all aware, our Florida League of Cities, insurance went up to about almost $26,000 this year. So far, our workers' comp case has not come into play with this year's monies, That's the only workers' comp claim we've ever had, so they didn't penalize as much, The retirement, the employees is just 10 point, a little bit over 10% match. Now, elected officials, y'all got a good one this year. The town's part of the elected official salary is 51.42%, plus y'all's 3% that y'all put in. Y'all get about 53% of your salary goes into Florida retirement. So y'all need a raise on y'all.
My goodness.
Yeah,
My goodness.
but that's the highlights.
It's the raise time we have a raise. We may need to get the new clerk, and they figure 3%, just figure that 3% out with the council. My goodness.
And that's all I have on the budget,
Okay, so back to back on the agenda then, having explained the budget to us. If we vote on the budget, we probably still need to discuss this a little bit, council. If we vote on the budget, we're voting on an employee. We're voting on the salary for the employee. Can we vote on the budget and then decide on the employee? Because if we don't, we can always move that money to another line if we need to. So we can adopt the budget, or
which includes the employee. This is tentative, everything's
Yeah.
tentative. This is an introduction of the budget and the first reading by title of the ordinance. It'll advertise next week. In fact, it'll advertise, and then we'll come back September 30th and do the final budget,
that's 2 weeks from tonight at 5 o'clock.
at 5:01.
5:00.
2 weeks from tonight.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions on the budget?
So maybe,
Is everybody as thoroughly confused as I am?
yes.
You look like after a while, looks like after a while we did, but from year to year, it's all brand new. Okay, what's the pleasure of the council on advertising the budget that's submitted tonight? It is balanced.
Make that motion.
We have a motion by Mrs. Carter that we advertise the balanced budget and the hearing and everything that goes. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? How about Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Wolfson?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Park? Ms. Carter?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Reading the ordinance by title, an ordinance adopting a budget for fiscal year 2021-2022 for the town of Wausau, Florida, and appropriating the funds for said fiscal year. And then there's some there's some boilerplate whereases, and again, we'll read it and say, we adopted this on September 3rd. That will come back, we'll read the whole resolution of that one.
Yeah, and tonight it's just introducing, and we need a motion to pass the first reading of it tonight.
Okay, we also need a motion to pass the first reading to by title that I just did.
I'll make a motion.
We have a
For the
motion.
reading.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Any vote, Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Please?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay.
Okay, I have. If you will take one and pass one, I have. And this is, you know, if y'all want to take this and vote at the September 30th meeting, the meeting to advertise for these positions. These are the job descriptions I've come up with for, the utility building clerk secretary and for the, give me one back, John. Yeah. And for the,
Until y'all read it, that one ain't long enough.
you can't put what we do in a.
Can't put it in 3 paragraphs, can you?
No, you can't, you, but, yeah. And the building clerk, secretary says the town of Wausau is seeking application for the position of a utility building clerk secretary for the office to perform tasks with ability to provide customer service in a courteous, professional, and helpful manner. Must have polite telephone skills. Computer skills are a must. The applicant must be able to pass the background and drug test. The employee will be responsible for processing monthly utility bills and payments along with all aspects of the town's water system. The employee will work in the direction of the town clerk and will have other duties as assigned. 2 years of clerical experience is preferred, but we will train the right person. Must be able to multitask. This position is a 32-hour per week position with a rate of pay at $14 per hour.
Okay.
We always put that other task as
Anything
assigned, you know, so.
Other thing that's assigned by the supervisor, do we need to require a driver's license? You may need to send in.
Yeah, we might better get a driver's license. You know, the background check will, you know, because they have to have, if they work in that office, they gotta have the ability to be bonded.
Yeah. If you're gonna do that for 3 or 4 days or 2 days, I don't want you driving if you can send somebody. I want you to work every hour.
We've always made a good doctor in there, huh?
Okay, if we vote tonight to advertise this,
Yeah, you can vote tonight to advertise, or you can vote to table till September the 30th, either one, that you want to do.
okay, do we need to look at this and see if there's anything you want to add to it as a job description and vote on the 30th?
Just, we're adding just driver license and background check, right?
Well, I suggest you drive a license tonight, but you may look at it and say you can add something else too. If we're just advertising at this point in time for a, office position, secretary building clerk, it won't be as detailed as Margaret's is.
Right.
Could you give us at the 30th your job description too? And would you modify it to do those things, to include those things that you're doing that's not in your job description? When the time comes, yeah, I know. I know, yeah, when the time comes, it would sound like a natural transition that this person would become the clerk, assuming that they work out and all like that and learn everything, they already know everything, and then we would replace them with a lesser job description. But as we go through the transition, now is the time to make sure that we have everything that Margaret does in writing. We may, the next Margaret we get may not, we've had people that left here. We lost another lawsuit one time because he said, I made this much overtime, and we didn't have any records. We couldn't prove that he didn't, and he had a book where he wrote it down, and we paid him off, didn't we, Margaret?
After the labor board made us.
Yep. And the labor board makes us again. I mean, that's, so those things that you do,
I'll have it for you the
And I'm
30th.
not talking about taking somebody gallon milk and all like that. I'm
Yeah.
talking about those official duties that you do. Would you give that to us sometime? Maybe not even post it,
I got it. I
but
can-
long before we need it,
Yeah.
okay? All right, you want to talk about the other one?
I do. This is, Town of Wausau. We're currently seeking a part-time maintenance worker, 28 hours for our permanent work department. The maintenance worker performs maintenance tasks within the facilities and public right-of-way, working both individually and with the crew as needed. The work can be physically demanding and unclean, and the maintenance worker may be subject to callback during emergencies on a 24-hour basis and may be required to work an occasional evening or weekend. Successful candidate will report to the Public Works Director. The rate of pay is $14 an hour. Candidate will be subject to a background, physical, and drug screen. The ideal candidate has a high school diploma and some work experience in construction, maintenance, and or other repair tasks. He or she must be a self-starter, prepared to get to work with a positive attitude, who has physical strength and stamina, and to perform the rigorous duties of the job. A valid driver's license is required. Some of the responsibilities are weeding, raking, watering, mowing, edging, shoveling, if we need to, field preparation, custodial duties, and litter pickup. Little repair, little electric, just basic, you know. And if we do have another storm, like we've had, these lightning, or, you know, just help with storm recovery and other emergencies during and outside the normal work hours. Complete the logs and reports and follow all safety procedures, performs all other duties as assigned. We want it to be at least 18 years old, high school diploma or GED preferred. We may not get that. Previous experience preferred, a valid driver's license, experience using hand tools and power tools, professional and dependable. We want our maintenance people to be presentable out to the public and to treat the public with the utmost respect. Able to work independently on projects or as a team member, a ability to follow spoken and written instructions, all safety, health rules and regulations. Must be able to work outdoors in all kinds of weather, heat, rain, etc. Able to bend, kneel, squat, stand, and lift heavy objects as needed.
See that part about being presentable?
I just said
You
that.
just
That's like
that. It's good,
You know, we've had some, you know, we furnished clothes to some that, you know, we bought boots, we bought jeans, we bought shirts, we bought whatever they needed to look
Yeah.
in public.
Able being squat and all that stuff, we need to be able to pick up 100 pounds, or do we have to have some limitation?
Probably our OSHA regulations wouldn't let us pick up 100 pounds just straight up, you know, we'd have to have two people to be in, but, you know, 50 pounds would be, you know, some of our valves and stuff like that weigh 50 pounds, you know.
And you can't cover everything. I'm just thinking some of the job description I read, you gotta be able to climb a ladder and things like that. You think this covers it?
I hope it does, you know.
Covers work
Probably-
outside and maintenance and,
Yeah, probably so.
and I would never be somebody that minimizes education, but for what we're fixing to do, I would take the experience.
We have, like I say, probably, Tim, maybe David, this is probably the only two we've ever had a high school diploma, you know. It's just their work experience, so speak for itself, you know. But these are new to y'all tonight. I understand that y'all want to look at it all, but we do need to be ready to advertise by the 30th, you know. Be ready to come in here and vote on these.
The thing about it is, we can always amend them,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have
At any
to, we
meeting.
don't have to advertise to amend, it
No,
becomes a
sure.
job description, that's something we can do at any meeting, so we could either vote on these tonight, or we can come back in 2 weeks and vote on them then, because we want to advertise after the opening of the new budget after October 1st, so
Yeah.
what's the pleasure of council? We want to look at it and come back, or we want to vote tonight?
Well, I think we probably need to go ahead and vote on this so we can advertise. Your pleasure.
I think so too. I was fixing to say, just that, I don't see no use in waiting, you know. We can amend it if something comes up, like you just got said.
We can, I think that you'll present us with a job description in a different format. This is for advertising purposes.
Correct, that's
And then
that.
you will give us a job description, it's got all these things laid out in a job description. We can always amend the job description. We can't amend this.
Yeah.
But if we hire on this, I don't know, there might be something that's missing, but I don't see it right now. Yeah.
No.
Okay, can I take that as a motion, Mr. Park, and a second, Mr. Walton-Ham?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I got a motion and a second.
Is this on the maintenance or the office?
Can we do them at the same
You want to do
time?
both on yes, sir?
This is for both?
Both.
Okay, all right. Any discussion on the motion? How you vote, Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Walton-Ham? Ms. Park?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. This is a very important thing we just done. And in a little while, if we don't see our town looking better in some areas, we need to come back and evaluate ourselves. We need to hold these people apart.
And,
Well, you know, I never have understood why this, around this, town hall don't look better. You know, if you look around,
there's a dog fiddle out there, we're going to try to always change them.
you know, they just,
They just hadn't had time to do it. It's been
nobody
raining.
know weed eat. I mean,
It's
I don't
raining.
know what's wrong with people that weed eat, but if you look now, you can't even get to that, give ice, and I ain't never got but ice but 2 times. But it's a mess back there. And you know, it wouldn't take no time to weed eat,
Yeah.
you know?
And there's some of that, we could probably, if it's to the scale that we need a certified applicator, we might think about sending somebody, but, hey, some of that stuff that kills all, or,
That we don't have to have the applicator license for.
yeah, Roundup or something like
Yeah,
that.
just keep
Take-
it,
Yeah, and I know all the stuff on television, but, some of that is lawyer cannon fodder. Okay. I think, council, you made just one of the more important votes that will make in a while. We can't fuss about the way things are if we're not diligent and we don't provide the resources. And I think you just did that. Okay, Madam Clerk.
All right. We need to set a public meeting on the coded CDBG application, which is on the Collins House, for September the 30th at 5:30. And I'm gonna have about 2 or 3 motions in this that we need to do.
Separately,
We can do, I think we need them separately for these grants.
okay?
We need to set the public meeting, and it will be a meeting.
Okay, it will be a regular meeting.
It is,
Special meeting, we can handle anything.
yes, special meeting, it will be just a public meeting
Yeah.
that will handle.
And the difference between that, again, to those who have an emergency meeting and only address one issue, and that's the emergency. A special meeting is a meeting that's just like this one, it's called at a special time and advertised, and then you can discuss anything you need. And then, of course, our regular meetings is what we always do. So this is not an emergency meeting, this is a special meeting. We need a motion to set it at 5:30. Do we have to, we've already addressed the 5 o'clock meeting.
Yeah, the budget,
We
yes.
the budget thing, and then 5:30 we'll come back in session and do the other thing. So we need to need to, a motion to set a public meeting at 5:30 on September the 30th. Okay, that motion?
We did?
That motion?
Yeah, I'll make
Yeah, we got a motion from Ms. Carter, a second.
I'll second.
A second, got a motion, a second, any discussion on the motion? How you vote, Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
yes.
Ms. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Walton?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Okay. We need a motion to advertise for RFPs for architectural and engineering services. This has to go in a regional paper. We haven't got this grant, but we have to have these in place when we do, if we do get this grant, you know. So we need to, a motion to approve advertisement for RFPs for architectural engineer for the CDBG project.
Okay? Your motion?
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion, second. Got a motion, second, any discussion on the motion? Ms. Walton?
yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Okay, we need a motion These are coming quick because this grant's gotta be there by November the 17th and we can't, yeah. This will be, motion, for, administration for the COVID, CDBG-CB project. Motion to advertise for, administration.
Grant administration. Okay,
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
a motion second.
So,
Got a motion second, any discussion? Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfman?
yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
The chair votes yes.
And that's all I've got, I think.
Can you address the George Gaynor memo just a minute?
Oh, yes, the, legislative incentive funding is coming up again.
Tell us what that is and what we can ask for.
What the legislative incentive funding is like, it's what we got the firehouse funded under, you know. We really need to think about this and think about what we want for this, you know. Our Possum Palace needs completing, you know. And we have roads that needs work, you know. We've not got any funding for this, Small County Outreach Program, the SCOPE program, in several years since we got 4th Avenue. We keep getting bumped out. And hopefully we get the drainage on with the CDBG micro funds, you know, with this project, you know, that we're asking for, but that's not a given either, you know. We have a lot that we need to think about to be ready to, because those applications have to be submitted, if I remember that email right, Roger, in November?
I think it's November.
So is there any certain limitations on this one?
No.
For time?
And on these monies, we will ask our legislative delegation, Mr. Gaynor and Mr. Drake, and then they'll put it in the state budget. If it's approved by the state legislature and the governor doesn't veto it, then it will be assigned to a certain department, whether it's recreation, health and welfare, whatever it is, and then they will send it to us in form of a grant. If it's approved by the legislature, we'll get it, but we still have to fill out all the paperwork. But the first step is for us to decide what we want to ask for and get it to Mr. Gaynor and Mr. Drake.
And they're willing
It has
to
be-
set up a meeting with y'all, you know, if you want to delegate, like Roger, to go sit down with Senator Gaynor and present what we want for these monies, you know. That goes a long way, that personal contact with them, you know. We call, we email, we do that, you know. But if somebody goes and talks with him, you know, he's on the chair of that committee this year. you know,
He's the
so-
chairman, yeah. I met with him on both the firehouse and the Possum Palace, and I didn't get those things. My meeting, it influenced him, it showed, you put a face with the name and the town and things like that. It takes a lot for it to get, he got it, but I did go and meet with him on both of those things.
And I think the reason we didn't get our Possum Palace this time is we just got that firehouse and we did not complete it within, you know, it took us 4 years to get that project completed. It's a lot for them to put out a lot of money for and then us take 4 years, you know, but we had Michael
Yeah. And COVID.
and COVID.
Yeah.
So we're,
Yeah. Okay, anybody got ideas of what we're gonna ask for? I really, can the monies that we're getting from any of these sources, these recoveries and things like that, can they be used to, you know, they talk about shovel-ready projects. Do we get Cliff or whomever to come in and look at our streets? Because when we do get a chance to resurface streets, I don't want us to pave something 10 feet wide right down the middle of the right of way. I want our streets to be resurfaced, good edge and a center line. If Franklin has 2 cars, can't hardly meet, they pull out the road and things like that. Could we use monies like that to get somebody?
there's a lot of technical assistant grants out there that we might could utilize some of, you know.
Okay.
Our biggest project that we need right now, and we don't need it this instant, but our water, you know, we're applying for funds for our water systems. And Cliff is over, I've already discussed this with Cliff's son. We need, from our well to 77, we need a 10-inch line. When 77 comes through, they're gonna put 8-inch lines all through they're upgrading us to 8-inch lines. So not our, I guess their cost, you know, they're gonna upgrade to 8-inch lines on 77 on Finch Circle out to tie into 4 Lane and all. But what we've got right now, we got a 6-inch line coming out of that well feeding the 6-inch line. When we get a new line in and a 6-inch line coming from that well, we're not gonna fill that up at the capacity that it needs to be able to increase our pressure, you know. And Cliff is looking for funds for that, but, you know, we need something like that for our well system. You know, our water system is our bread and butter, we can't operate without it, you know. And we've got to provide safe.
Is that the kind of money we've asked for here?
No.
No, that'd be something, I thought that was gonna be like a
That's gonna be a special project.
facilities or facilities.
Yeah, it'd have to be a special project for that, you know. But that's something to think about.
One of the things that I'm thinking about, I think we all like to see is not leave the Possum Palace unfinished. I think that would be a priority with me, that we do that.
What about that drainage behind the Possum Palace?
That's gonna be worked on with this, it's supposed to be addressed during the CDBG grant we got going on now.
That needs to be done too, bad. Okay, we need to, maybe if we wait till October, if we wait all the way to October.
Now, y'all need to come back 2 weeks or something.
Would that be like Roger for like, say, phase 2 for the Possum Palace? And then take and put so much of whatever we're gonna do, or have to add to it underneath that phase 2?
Yeah, well, I think we got all the drawings and diagrams and papers and all that we need. This would be construction money we'd be asking for, to complete phase, phase 2.
Right.
That'd be construction monies. But we're not limited to just ask for one thing. I mean, if we get one thing, we'll be happy. If there's something else we need to ask for, whether it's, those technical grants.
What about streetlights? We need streetlights.
We surely do.
When 77 comes through, we've already met with, West Florida Electric during the FDOT meetings that I attended. And we've asked for streetlights at every intersection, all the way down 77, and they said when they put 77 through, we're gonna get those. And we'll have to pay for them during the year, but they'll reimburse us back, state will at the end of the year. But now our back streets would be our own little venture, you know.
And an example of that is the streetlights at Shenandoah on 77. You know, you got 6 streetlights out there. The county or the MSBU pays for that, and then the DOT reimburses them because it's on state right of way. So we pay for the ones on 77, and the state reimburses
Annually.
annually. Okay, in 2 weeks, let's come back and think about what else do we need. Would we ask for something else out here just in case that grant doesn't come through?
At the high school? Miss Gavin, yeah, they're working that grant for us,
She got a good track record.
they got a good track record, and, the health department, we should be getting our letter. I've been talking with the health department, and they're gonna partner with us for a health clinic, that they'll come out every so often and give the COVID vaccine, they'll do some COVID testing here, they'll also give the flu shots here. And we make a partner with Council on Aging to come out and do something in that house, you know. But first we gotta get it to ADA standards, new septic tank, you know.
I'd like to partner with the hospital and let a doctor come out here.
Yes, if you could give me somebody to talk
Yes.
to there, or if you know somebody to talk to there. And we might could get our local dentist to come out, you know, and do once a month, checkups or something, or once a year checkups, you know. Any letters of support that we can get will help our grant.
Now, usually Mr. Drake and Mr. Gaynor comes, and they usually go like to the court, or now it's to the annex. Would any of you like to meet with them when we get our list together and talk to them about what the town wants or needs, or would you like for me to
I nominate you.
Ma'am,
I nominate
you
you.
know, well,
I second it.
and the only reason whomever the mayor is, just a title, it's not that it's me or that shoot, if you was the mayor, though, that title. But would you like to go with me? Would any of you like to go? It's not a sunshine thing if we go, if more than one of us goes, when we find out when that is, if you would like to go. But, he usually goes like Walton County, Holmes County, here, Jackson County, goes all of them in one day, so it's not an all-day meeting or anything like that. It's just, they come and hear what we got to say.
And they wanna make sure they're here when the fire department opens. So we could have a little more time with them a day like that, you know, but that may not be before we need our grant.
Yeah. One thing on that job description, when I go back to the outside person, I'd like them to be able to be qualified to work inmates.
Well, that'd be correct.
If that ever comes around again, one or two inmates, and some of the folks we've had apply probably couldn't all because they had previously been an inmate themselves or something like that. Doesn't make them bad people, if they paid their,
Supervise one.
yeah, but we might want them to be able to do that. Okay, in 2 weeks, when we come back in 2 weeks, we'll decide what we can ask Mr. Gaynor and Mr. Drake for. Okay?
Okay, let's keep in mind about what she said about the water line.
Yeah,
Instead of a 6-inch line coming down to an 8-inch line.
And that won't be until DOT comes through, so we need to coordinate that project somewhere along in there, you know.
yeah, okay.
We can get a better price on
And
it.
that'd be 2025 according to you.
According to what they're telling me.
According to what they
We should be able to get it by
tell me. Okay.
We'll all be grandpas.
Yeah.
Carol, it'd be on her social security.
That's right,
For
before
this,
that comes through.
get paid.
That's right.
Okay. Anything else, Parker?
That's it.
Okay. Mr. Park,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Walksnail,
No.
Ms. West?
I do, I wanna talk about the Tourist Development Club.
Okay.
Now that I've started going, back to work out in the field full time, their meetings are at 8 in the morning, so I can't get off or not go to patients to get there. They do have what they call Zoom, so you can get on it and watch and listen to the meeting on that. So you don't necessarily have to be there in person. But it's hard for me now, starting back to work and doing that. So, and I can't do the Zoom because I'm with a patient. So I'm trying, I had talked to Margaret and told her if she would put it on there for me, on the agenda, to see if I could get somebody that, you know, would be interested in what they are, are doing and talking about, and, or that's able to.
Okay.
Their next meeting, I believe, is September the 21st.
The Tourist Development Council has provided money for advertising for Wausau Fun Day. And they do promotion of numbers of things in the county, fallen waters and special days and watermelon festivals and firecrackers and all like that. They provide some funding, and we use ours for advertising and things like that. I don't know that there's a requirement that each of the towns has somebody on that, but we have had the opportunity. Is this something that a person, the new person, is this something that could be
They really
staff.
want, yeah, we
staff.
can talk to them about staff, but they really want an elected official.
Yeah,
Most of them, all of them that go are elected officials or appointed officials, you know.
Yeah. I know the Economic Development Council is a little different from that. They got
They got business
people
people,
from
yeah.
businesses and things like that, but they also want to. And I think Mayor Palmer had gone to some, I'm not sure how many, and then I began to get the emails. I haven't gone to any. And the scheduling this year has not been consistent. It's been about as many has been canceled as have been held.
And I think the PDC, they only meet like quarterly.
Yeah,
unless they
it's
have
every
something.
3 months. Yeah, it's only every 3 months.
What about Mr. Park?
Any of it, would any of you?
I mean, and like I said, you don't have to go, you can zoom, if, you know, zoom into it. And actually, which we've had, you know, the mayor from Chipley, where she was going down south to another meeting, and she just got on and basically just listened, you know. It's just as long as there's, yeah,
Well, send me a link to that.
okay.
Would you like for us to replace Miss West with you? Try it a time or two?
I'll do it on Zoom at home.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. You can always bring information back to us or ask us questions if you don't feel comfortable making, but you would represent the town on the Tourist Development Council.
We need a motion to that effect, because we have to send it to Heather, and then she has to get it approved by the Board of Commissioners.
Okay. I hear a motion that we appoint Mr. Park to replace Ms. West on the Tourist Development Council.
I'll make, well, you make, go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? How you vote, Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Carter? Yes. Ms. Walton?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. Anything else, Ms. West?
That's it.
I skipped you, didn't
Mm-hmm.
I? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I'd just like to say to Steve that if I offended him or hurt his feelings in any way, I apologize. That was not my intent.
I still love you.
I love you too.
You're my favorite. I'm telling you what.
All right. Okay. Some of mine will be housekeeping. I got several things, but I think I can do them quickly. And some of it will just.
Nancy couldn't hold that face.
Some of it will just be housekeeping. You probably most of it, part of it you can answer. Probably a year ago, we voted to put our pictures back up, and that hasn't been done.
We haven't had opportunity to do it. Do you have somebody that could do that?
Well, you'd think that somebody that couldn't find anything to do would have had time to do it sometime on a rainy day, wouldn't you?
It would, but yeah.
But,
Pictures, okay? I'll see if I can.
What about the development club?
I can't
They
keep
not-
on, I can't keep
Would the
on.
development club do it?
We might check with the development club,
Pictures of what?
the council
The
that's on the
council
wall.
members that was on the wall at that time.
Okay,
Okay, I'll work on that.
okay. Our ARPA money, attachment A, page 13. I don't know what that says now, but there's something on there about qualifying and what we can do and things like that. You've read the same through, or our attorney has?
Attorney, Jeff is advising me, and also we're getting advice on from the league of what we can and cannot do with those funds.
And is that in, is that?
It should be in there somewhere, but I'm not.
Well, I thought so. After the last meeting, or after the, actually probably the July meeting, if it's all right with the council, for the sake of time, can I didn't have my book with me, can I mark that and talk to Margaret and let her answer my question about that? There was a qualifying thing there, I think, and if it's something that we need to talk
What
about.
section was it, Roger?
It's page 13, attachment A. Is it gonna be the July meeting where you present that to us?
What section, attachment A, which one?
Attachment A on page 13.
Got it.
Okay, okay. Well, is it the last, so where did you put the keys? I may have to look at it again to see what question was.
It was at the workshop, I think, Roger, August the 12th.
Okay. Can I look over your shoulder and read that in just a minute since you found it? Then there's a lot of other pages I recall. see it.
Okay, just
But-
find it, and I'll-
but because- And the reason I've done that is because you are the appointed person there,
Mhm.
and you're going to sign that you have, that you acknowledge all those things. And I just wanted to make sure that somebody had backed you up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these have to be,
All right. Do we know what the status of our DOCD is?
hadn't heard from nobody.
Okay,
Have you?
haven't. Do we know what the status of our dumpster is?
Mr. Ronnie Bell, I did email him on that. He is checking with the powers to be, about it, but I have not heard back from him.
Okay. What are we doing about phone and internet at the fire department?
Phone and internet, we're gonna port it over there from our fiber here for phone and internet. We have an extra number coming in here anyway, that since we went to the new SCADA system on the well, we're not gonna need that number inside for the wells, because we go through a different satellite cellular network for that.
Okay,
So we can port that number over to the fire department, and our IT people, Hostin and Garner, will be down here to get all that set up to do all that.
we'll have to cut that road, it don't be cable,
No,
fiber,
no.
cable or anything like that,
No.
be Wi-Fi or something.
Wi-Fi or something like that.
All right. What's the status of the letters? And I know you've been, we're taking into account, I just don't want some things to get covered. What's the status of the letters that Mr. Clark raised 2 or 3 meetings ago about places needing to be cleaned up?
They status on hold, I reckon, because he hadn't done them, and
Did he send back to us and said that he wouldn't do those, that they had to go through the county and then we?
And I figured out why, that he's a special magistrate for the county on code enforcement, so he's not gonna get, if they go with, he's special magistrate.
Yeah.
for Washington
But
County.
did we not ask you to do it then?
He did, and I haven't,
Okay,
but I will.
which we, okay.
I've been the time here.
And I understand, and that's the reason I'm asking, because I don't know how much this has kept you from doing some things, it's not criticism at
No,
all.
I don't.
Okay. Status of the sign on Norwood Court and 4th Avenue. We talked about that, and I think Tim told me he's got some signs, but,
We've got a list of signs that we need in there.
okay,
He's went through town and made a list of everything that doesn't have a sign.
okay,
And there's quite a few
Yeah.
that need signs. Now, I don't know if the Washington County will make those for us and let us pay them, or if we got to order from somewhere else. They're not very forthcoming here lately.
okay. Has he got the list already?
Mm-hmm.
Is it all right with the council if I contact one of our public works people and see if the county will do it for us?
Yes, sir, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Okay, and we talked about Mr. Corbett's water problem last time, and is it,
Well, I think the engineer said it wasn't the city's problem.
okay, all right. Okay, I talked to the EOC, and all of us know we was out of water for 26 hours, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and for the most part been on the verge of being out of water ever since then.
Okay.
I talked to Margaret, and we don't have it in-house. But I found out that the EOC now does public safety announcements for some of the municipalities, especially in Vernon, if they have a water break or anything like that, they issue their boil water, something like that. And they told me that they could for Wausau, and what they would do, because our water line goes outside the city, they wouldn't just take the city limits, it would be a mile from the center of town, that when we have something, like when we have a storm, they'll come on and say, take shelter, bad weather's coming, that they will do a public service announcement for us, so those phone calls that we're getting at home about, I don't have any water, what's going on like that, they'll do a public service announcement for us, so that all the people in the community will know that the well is down, or the water line is broken, or something like that. Would we like to pursue something like that?
Eddie would, I'm sure.
That phone will never stop for them.
Yeah.
Right on through midnight.
Yeah. I think it'd be a good thing if,
I do too, it'd be really helpful too.
now, I don't know, if you want us to pursue it, I will. I don't know, will they wake up at midnight and put something on for us or something like that, you know?
But we could do it as soon as they got there.
But we could do it, you know, if it's all right, I'm gonna see what it would take for them to do something for us like that. I talked to Connie, and, I think they were going to probably say something like, the well in Wausau is experiencing electrical problems, you, plan to be out for 5 to 7 hours or something like that, and then everybody's got the message. You know, I think, okay, I'll ask them about that. Second Street and Monroe intersection, everybody knows that the road is closed there. Reason I was asking about the street budget a while ago, because I wanted to come back to it. There used to be something that's called piggybacking, and the county could piggyback on a state contract, the city could piggyback on a county contract, et cetera, et cetera. And what that allowed us to do was get something done quickly without a bid process, and we would accept the same terms or negotiate terms for the cost of things. They're doing the county's doing paving in Washington County now. The contractor is out of Bluntstown. I spoke to him today. He's supposed to call me back tomorrow, maybe even come and look at this if the council wants to pursue it. I don't think that we can cut that pavement down there, take that culvert out, replace it, and repave it. I don't think we can do that with our resources. We could dig a hole down there, and then we could pack it full of dirt, and then, but that, coming down that slope from Miss Rita's house is gonna need to be, that pavement's gonna be need to replace there. If it's all right with the council, I'd like to, meet with the contractor and ask him what he could come there and take that out for us. And if he would extend the prices that he's given to the county, I'd like to at least get a cost to it and bring it back to us on the 30th if they can do that. I think it'd be so much better. And because I talked to Mr. Goodman, he said because it's a public safety issue, and because of all the rain and all the inclement weather and things like that we have, that we could declare an emergency, and we wouldn't have to bid it out or anything like that. We could use the piggyback system and declare it an emergency. If we do that, this is a reach now. If we do that, I'd probably like to come up to this next intersection at, behind the post office, and then maybe the one just when you turn off at 77, because we lost that. Michael, Sally, Fred, all the rain and all the unnamed storms and tropical depressions and all like that. We lost that during that time. I think probably this one down here, but that would be a much further stretch, and the one down close to going down from the ball field, they all need to be done, but these are critical, and I think we could probably get them in an emergency status. And I just need to hear what the council thinks about that and see if you want me to try that, or we're gonna have to do something. We can't do that, then the next plan would be, I talked to Public Works, and they said we wouldn't mind to help you, but the calendar ain't got enough days, and the days don't have enough hours, kind of a thing. They're recovering all over the county too. They probably couldn't come into the city and do something for us in a long time, so. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay,
We need to pursue it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. The last thing I got, we've been asked a number of times about closing the road here between our lot and the Assembly of God. We've chosen not to do that over the years because, and I think we found out we don't have a water line there, but we've always not done that because future use for water, sewers, and things like that. I was out here walking around our building. If we have to increase our pond over the years or anything like that, we're nearly about right up against our property line. And would this council be interested in pursuing a land swap with the church? And what we would do is is close that 50 foot there, and in exchange for 50 foot going that way from our building, we'd have the same amount of room. If we ever needed a water line to come across our, we could dig across that dirt, because we could dig it up and downside the street over there, or something like that. And that street is gonna need to be worked on, resurfaced or something sooner or later anyway, and there may be a chance we could swap it with them. I tried to figure it out if you wanted to do that, or was favorable toward that, what we need to do. So what I think we need to do is think about a survey, swapping deeds, and then whether or not we want fences up there. I'm not, you know, if we put a marker here and a marker here, I don't care if we put a fence or not, the council might. Or if the church later on decided they wanted to, they could put it up. I'm not suggesting we do a fence, but it does two things. It helps them with what they want to do. And I'm being very careful, because you know that my brother is on that board of deacons there, and that is my home church. So I'm absolutely being just as down the middle as I can. I've always voted, when I was sitting here, for what's best for the town. So I'm just saying that I think that this would be a good thing for us, and at the same time, it's a good thing for the church. And I know they desire to have that street closed. So would that be something we're interested in proposing to their pastor, to their board, or something like that?
I would
Yeah.
think so,
Yes.
you know, yes,
You think so?
yes.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I like the street there.
You rather have a street?
I'd rather have the street.
Okay. Okay.
If we take a 50 foot, are we gonna make it into a street?
We can if we desire that. If we want to put water or sewer lines across there, which is the only thing, the really purpose for keeping that street open now, because the owner on both sides is the same. If somebody else on this side of the street, I wouldn't be in favor of it either. I think my vote will reflect that over the years. But where you've got the same owner on both sides, and it doesn't serve anybody else but them, except for a cross through. And I don't know how many times anybody crosses through there, or goes down and comes out at the live, or anything like that. But if we wanted a street there, we could. I'm not proposing that we would want one there, but we could put a water line out there, and it'd be lots easier digging in that dirt than it would be digging down a paved road and then have to resurface the paved road. If that paved road is nothing or begins to dump water across, and we don't know what will happen after 77 comes in, if it does, and begins to come in there, Miss Walksham's place or Donna's house, then we'll have a water problem that will be a city problem, and if we do the land swap, that problem will go away.
I just like the idea of running in there.
Okay. Okay, to pursue this, we would need a motion, not having a consensus of the board, we'd need a motion to do that. If you'd like for us to pursue it, I need a motion, or if not, we'll come to the close of our meeting.
I'll make a motion to actually to do the swap.
I have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on the motion? I wish Mr. Carter was on the phone with us. I have absolutely no personal interest in this taking place, but I wonder, should I excuse myself from voting? What
It wouldn't, no, it's not gonna benefit
ethics
you.
don't say unless I
benefits you.
get a benefit from it, and I don't get any benefit. All right, how you vote, Ms. Carter?
No.
Mr. Carter?
Yeah.
Mr. Walsham?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, anything else to come before the council? Nobody else signed in this deal? We will stand, do we need to, are you advertising meeting, do we need to recess or adjourn?
We need to adjourn.
We need to adjourn in the, okay, this
Okay,
meeting,
second.
this meeting stands adjourned.